This news is related to international relations and also internal security issue. The news is about Quad. Quad means Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. India is a member of this Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. However, it is not a formal one, it is informal dialogue among four countries. So these are the four countries: Australia, India, Japan and USA. In this Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, India highlighted its concerns mainly like terrorist attacks and COVID-19. These countries discussed various issues about international security architecture. These countries called together for free and open navigation in oceans. So these are the various issues they discussed in the meeting. Now there is one more thing that is related to Quad, that is Indo-Pacific Strategy. Indo-Pacific Strategy of USA. It is a foreign policy of USA. Now how Quadrilateral Security Dialogue and America's foreign policy strategy are coinciding here? The reason is America in 20th century focused on Atlantic Ocean. It had relations with Europe countries and it has given the opportunity for USA to rise and emerge as one of the superpowers of 20th century. Now in the 21st century, America wants to focus on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, that is Pacific Ocean. And here the term Indo-Pacific means Indian Ocean and Pacific region combination. So America wants to focus on Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean jointly, that is Indo-Pacific strategy. To realize Indo-Pacific strategy, the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue becomes an important tool to realize the goals or objectives of Indo-Pacific strategy. On the same day when Quadrilateral Security Dialogue was going on in Australia, on the same day Washington also released this Indo-Pacific strategy. However, this is not suddenly happened. It is going on for a very long time, and over a period of time the dialogues among four important countries in this region, that is one Japan, India, Australia and USA. For so many years the dialogue was going on. Finally in recent years this got realized in the form of Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. So this Quad became very important tool for USA's foreign policy in 21st century, because there are many various reports and analysts are saying 21st century is going to be the Asia's century, where China and India play dominant role in 21st century. So naturally America wants to utilize this opportunity so that like in 20th century it focused on Atlantic Ocean, it emerged as the superpower. Similarly, now it wants to realign its foreign policy strategies. At the same time, there are some issues in this part of the world with respect to China's rise. China's rise having some strategic impact on India, on Japan and the countries which are sharing the South China Sea and Australia. So in this context, this Quad mechanism became very important mechanism for these countries who are going or who are suffering from China's aggressiveness, or who are concerned about China's rise and its aggressive policies. This one, let us see what are the contents of Indo-Pacific strategy. If we know the contents of Indo-Pacific strategy, we will come to know that what exactly USA is trying to achieve through the Indo-Pacific strategy. Here it is saying that American president, he mentioned in 2021, he said the future of each of our nations and indeed the world depends on a free and open Indo-Pacific enduring and flourishing in the decades ahead. So it is talking about free and open Indo-Pacific region. Otherwise, this region is going to be a competitive sphere for many countries, and it is going to going to have impact on world's future or world's peace itself. For example, in 20th century, the Atlantic Ocean and the European affairs became so intense that it led to two great wars, World War I and World War II. At that time, there was no international architecture which categorize or which control the international relations to neutralize the growing concerns in 20th century. Finally, after Second World War, in the form of United Nations, a international organization was created, and more or less successfully United Nations tried to maintain the peace of the world. Now with the rise of China and with the re-emergence of Russia and the growing interests of America and rise of new countries like India and Japan is going to create a new struggle in Indo-Pacific region. So in that context, now USA wants to realign its foreign policy towards Indo-Pacific region. So the president of USA also saying the future depends on free and open Indo-Pacific region. And this is the document and it has some contents. The Indo-Pacific strategy is focusing on these aspects. It is talking about Indo-Pacific prosperity and Indo-Pacific security. Build regional resilience to 21st century transnational threats. So it is talking about security architecture in 21st century. If we see some of the quotations from this strategy, it is talking about we will focus on every corner of the region from Northeast Asia and Southeast Asia to South Asia and Oceania. Here we are concerned about South Asia. Here India is located. This Indo-Pacific strategy of USA is going to have direct implications on India's security and also India's foreign policy. It is also talking as we enter a decisive decade that holds considerable promise and historic obstacles for the Indo-Pacific. The American role in the region must be more effective and enduring than ever. So now you can see the shift in the balance or shift in the idea of America's foreign policy. We are discussing about Indo-Pacific strategy of USA because this strategy is going to have impact on India's foreign policy because it is talking about India's neighborhood. Not only India's neighborhood, it directly has references about India as well. For example, if we take, there is a paragraph specifically for India's rise. It is talking about support India's continued rise and regional leadership. So USA's foreign policy is particularly or specifically talking about India's rise and India's regional leadership. That is why Indo-Pacific strategy of USA is very much important for India's foreign policy. Why USA wants to focus on this region means it has its own advantage. This is the Pacific region, this is Indian Ocean region. So jointly this is Indo-Pacific region. Now it wants to realign its foreign policy. This whatever is going to happen is going to affect India's security. Here if we take the region, the speciality of this region is if we take the population, over half the world population including 58% of youth are located in this region. Economy wise 60% of global GDP is there in this region. Growth wise 2/3 of global economic growth is happening in this region. Geography wise 60% of world's oceans and 25% of its land is located in this region. So this shows that in 21st century this region is going to emerge as important growth engine. It has a lot of potential in 21st century. So in this context, now America is realigning its foreign policy. Now it has special reference to India as well. And in this particular context, Quad comes because Quad is a strategic dialogue among 4 countries. USA is also part of this dialogue. So having this Indo-Pacific vision, America wants to make quadrilateral security dialogue more effective so that it can achieve its strategy, it can achieve its objectives. Now, why India wants to be part of this Quad? India is also part of Quadrilateral Security Dialogue because India has its own foreign policy priorities. It also has some kind of internal security and threats from externally as well. So in order to neutralize external threats from China or Pakistan or from any other country, now we need to have balance in the international power so that India's borders are safe and secure. So in that context, India also participating in Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. If we take the history of Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, first it was mooted by Japanese PM in 2007 itself. But however, it did not materialize for a very long time. In 2012, once again Prime Minister of Japan, he floated the concept of Asia's democratic security diamond. And once again, it did not materialize until 2017. In 2017, Quadrilateral Security Dialogue was re-established, and where India, USA, Australia, Japan, they came together and they wanted that free Indo-Pacific region where without any influence from other countries. That means particularly they are talking about China, because by this time period there were many issues in the South China Sea region. In South China Sea region, let us take this region. Here in recent years, this region has become volatile in nature because this is South China Sea. In South China Sea, here in this region, there are some natural resources. Now, the littoral regions, countries of this region wants to extract or exploit the natural resource of this region. However, here the major power in this region is China. Now, without taking the littoral countries into confidence, it is moving aggressively and trying to exploit the natural resources of this region. So naturally, it is going to create tensions among the regions because these natural resources are the livelihood, or these are the potential for future generations of these countries as well. So they have to exploit the natural resources of this region for their future as well. So here the economic angle is very important. Now for these natural resources there is intense competition. Now naturally China is very large country and economically a major power. These small countries are not able to compete or control the activities of China. That is why these countries depend on the major powers like USA. So in that context, if USA is having a foreign policy which is specifically talking about this particular region, is going to have implications on security of this region. India cannot leave this region alone, because in India, whatever is happening here, it is going to have direct impact on India's security as well. So that is why India participated in Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, here Japan, India, Australia, USA, these four countries joined together. Now they are talking about various issues, like India has its own concerns from terrorism. It put its point of view related to terrorism in Quad. Now Japan, it tries to highlight the activities of China, and Australia also have issues with China due to growing aggressiveness in the region. Now China and USA all have economic rivalry. So all these issues came together. Now China viewed this Quadrilateral Security Dialogue as a opposite to China's rise, or they are going against the China's peaceful rise. But India is saying that they are only talking about peaceful and open maritime, that means open maritime navigation. All these countries, whoever sharing Indo-Pacific region and Indian Ocean region, all countries should be having equal say in this particular region, and the transportation or movement of any ships or transportation should be free from any interference. Then only conflict will not arise in future. So this is the reason why India wants to participate in quadrilateral security dialogue, and India participated. This is the fourth foreign ministerial quadrilateral security dialogue. So in the same time, when Quad met in Melbourne, in the same day, USA also released its Indo-Pacific region strategy. So combinedly, Indo-Pacific Strategy of USA and Quad both occupies immense significance for India's future and India's foreign policy. Thank you.